G'day guys, Duckville here. Wow, very throaty Duckville. I just noticed that. I got a cold at the moment, but I thought, what the hell, we'll do some casting anyway. I'll give it a go, and if I sound a crazy husky, not like HD husky, you know what I mean, crazy husky voice. Whatever, it'll sound cool, man. It'll be like the guy on Law and Order. But we're going to watch a game from the NA ladder. This is going to be between a Terran and a Zerg. Starting out at the top left-hand side of Shikara's Plateau is our red Terran by the name of Vilo. We all should know Vilo, or some of you guys should know from previous casts on my channel. We've had probably the coolest one was the very long, I think it was 58 minutes or something like that, game with Vilo versus Bosnick from the MLG, I'm going to say Columbus series. I can't actually remember, but that was an awesome game. If you haven't actually seen that, make sure you go and check that out on the channel. It was probably one of the coolest games I'd casted, despite perhaps having a few fundamental problems with the actual players' strategies themselves. The actual game itself was awesome, given that there were around about 49 nukes or something like that, and unlike normal, I'm not actually exaggerating. His opponent is going to be over here on the right-hand side, is going to be from Infinity 7. It is iSanddbox, one of their newer players, and like, I tried to check this out just a minute ago. I'm pretty sure it's iSanddbox. If it's meant to be ANDbox, then I don't know, whatever. That's what happens when you get cute with your name, but either way. One of the younger players in the scene, iSanddbox is, I believe, 15 years old, so he's one of those younger kids in the scene who's doing really well. He's up in the Grandmaster League on NA, and has just been tearing it up on there. You can see him on the stream, which is just linked below. And of course, we'll find out how he goes today. Of course, Vilo is a player who does like to do a bit of mech in TVP. In TvZ, I'm not actually sure if he's adopted that to his TvZ style, but we'll find out very soon. iSanddbox, of course, is being a Zerg, he'll want to make sure he can get some quick bases if he can, or perhaps do some early attacks. We'll find out very soon. Just as if we're going to get an extractor cancel there. Interesting to see that when he didn't actually need it. May have been some mind games there from iSanddbox. Yeah, he did. Vilo did see that go down, so that could be an interesting little part of how this game progresses. Of course, cancelling that extractor means that we're not going to get any Ling speed very soon. However, the spawning pool is just completed, so it's not as if he's going to have no defense at all. And from the looks of it, Vilo is not going to be doing any early pressure with Marines. No bunker shenanigans or anything like that. It looks as if he is going to go for a standard sort of reactor Hellion based expand. We'll see how it goes. It looks as if a few Marines are going to poke out on the map. A bunker has been started here. Interesting play from Vilo. He is going to have to cancel that, and it looks as if the SCV will be lost, or will it? No, the SCV is going to escape for the time being. Did force a couple of Lings out of iSanddbox, although the thing is, look, it was only 4 of them. He was going to build probably 4 of those anyway, just to get some early map control, and we'll probably see him get a spine crawler in just a second. But the Marines have now come about anyway. They are not afraid. They're going to grab a few shots at a Overlord, and perhaps even this Queen as well. But the 4 Lings now coming from the back, taking out one of the Marines. 2 of them are left. The Lings are doing a little bit of damage. Should be able to get one of the Marines, maybe even that last one as well. And he is going to clean that up quite nicely. So deflects that attack with ease, but it was by no means a very serious attack or anything of that regard. Looks as if we've got some chatter here from iSanddbox, just pointing out that he can stutter step with his Lings. Of course, once the speed comes out, he's not going to need to worry about that, but he has been busy droning up like a madman here. We can see him up at 28 drones already. We've got more on the way. Another 6 are about to pop out here. Spine crawler just coming through as well, so we'll see just a standard sort of defense there. I would not be surprised to see a 3rd base perhaps going up from iSanddbox once he gets a little look at what Vilo is up to. Still no real scouting at the front, but he should be aware that the standard play in TvZ is to have some Hellions out, and he should be able to deflect those quite easily, given that he does have this spine crawler at the top of the ramp. So still waiting to see exactly what these guys are up to. It looks as if iSanddbox has gone for that very late quad gas style, where you wait and drone up quite hard. You hit up that that sort of 30 to 40 mark on the drone count, and then you plop down the extractors and start going to town on the gas, and then you can really transition into some really nice tech. Now, I do like what he's done with the Evo chambers here, forcing a choke point across to the right-hand side, where the 2 spine crawlers are going to be to deflect any of this Hellion harassment. We do have 6 Hellions out. That's quite a few from LgNavilo. In fact, 8. He's got a couple more coming along now as well. Double factory Hellions are the reasoning for that. He's now just picking up the second gas as well. So it looks as if he's going to try and get some real damage done with these Hellions. Just a few of them poking in at first, perhaps just waiting for the rest of them to pop up, and they do join the rest of the crew, and they're going to try and get some damage here on these queens before they can get away. Not actually really going to get too much done here. The queen should be able to block out the Hellions from getting too far through. One of the queens quite damaged. She's going to go see the hospital to get all of that repaired, but link speed on the way, which should help out with the rest of the defense here, and still more and more of these Hellions popping out. We did see that LgNavilo was supply blocked for just a moment there, so I'm not sure if he was meaning to go up to a much larger amount before attacking into this this natural expansion, but he is going to have a great number of these Hellions out now. He's got a total of 10 on the map just at the moment. We don't have any extras coming through, and just the 1 Rax is already done, so it looks as if he's going to switch over into a standard sort of style. We've got the third base also going up here from LgNavilo, so using the cover of these Hellions at the front as a reasoning to get the third base up very quickly. He knows that there are going to be no lings on the map, which means that he is free to get some extra expansions going. Loving this train of overlords that's going around the side of the map. That's very cute. And the Hellions will need to be careful now. There are quite a lot of lings out, along with the ling speed, which is now also complete. One of the spine crawlers being very daring. He's just gonna walk up and just say, hey, we're plopping down here, and it looks like he may actually kill the spine crawler, but a couple of good transfuses there from iSanddbox saved the day. The spine crawler going down, and should be able to clean up the rest of the Hellions, but not before the Hellions take down one of the queens. I'm a bit surprised he didn't go for the other queen. He certainly could now, but I think that LgNavilo is a little bit worried about the possible counter-attack here from iSanddbox, but iSanddbox being very careful there and just hanging back for the moment. One of the spine crawler is going to be in a little bit of strife until another creep chimmer comes out, and getting that down as well. Going to be able to get some good creep spread to restart the progression of the creep across the map. Of course, you want to try and get it at least halfway across into the center portion here, and once it's up there, you can get some good vision of what's going on, unless Hellions come across and roast up all of your lings, and this ling for the moment is safe, although a little bit surprised that LgNavilo hasn't pushed in to kill that one. But looks as if iSanddbox, after regaining a lot of that map control and building around about 6,000 lings, we've got 64 on the map, is going to take a third and a fourth base very quickly here. Looks like he's also going to try and slip by these Hellions, and I don't think the Hellions, yes, they did actually see that the lings were running by. There are so many lings here. He's going to send some of them at the front. Blue Flame is also done for these Hellions, so they're going to be easily able to roast up some of these lings, and they should be able to deal with that quite easily. It does look as if, oh wow, yeah, I was about to say, it looks like LgNavilo might be going for mech, and indeed he is. We've got a total of 5 factories already. We've got Thors on the way out as well. This looks very similar to the way that that Quantic the Ognis was playing his mech style, although we have a little bit of a difference in the opening here with a lot of Hellions coming out. So a little bit of a difference in how that's played, but it looks as if the next portion of this mech play is going to be quite a bit different, and LgNavilo is just making sure that this third base is secure. I would think that once that wall is up and perhaps a bunker with a few units inside, that is actually going to be quite impenetrable. But as we can see, iSanddbox pushing across the map. He's got a lot of lings out. Infestors are already done, and they're just pushing across the map. They do have some fungal growth prepared and ready to go. The Thors should be able to deal with this attack though, and with more and more units now popping out from LgNavilo, his mech play is going to look very scary soon, but iSanddbox is looking good himself. Got 65 drones out at the moment. And quite a lot of tech on the way as well. Just poking in with these links just to see exactly what is here. Sees a lot of Hellions and a few Thors as well. So I don't think this is going to be the best idea to push into this just as of yet, unless he wants to use a lot of the infested Terrans, but we'll see what happens. The Overlord spread for SANDBOX, I am loving this. He's got so much vision. Look at all of this around the map. He's got all of this. He's now poking into that third base, but he's got vision just about everywhere. I really love that. And now with Overlord speed done, and also it looks as if Burrow is about to complete, along with +2 to weapons and carapace for these Lings. They're going to be doing quite a lot of damage, but they're going to have a lot of trouble dealing with all of these Hellions that are out of the map. But looks as if those Lings did get inside. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage to the SCVs that were around and able to take out a couple of the buildings as well. The SCV count being absolutely demolished there. And here we go. Looks like SANDBOX is going to go to town on these Thors, putting down a couple of fungals and then spewing out beach balls all over the place. The infested Terrans going to work on those Thors, and they have all been eliminated now. And the only thing left on the map at the moment are the few units that have already been prepared by LgNavilo. He's got a couple of tanks with a siege mode all ready to go, taking down some of those infested Terrans. And the Hellions need to be repaired. They need to go back to the shop because they're in lots of trouble. So SANDBOX going for this very heavy Ling Infestor style, trying to make sure he can take care of the very slow mech units before they can get into position and really hold the map. So it looks as if that is the goal for now from SANDBOX, and I really do like that. More Infestors about to pop out as well, but LgNavilo has got more and more Thors coming through, so he's well protected against any possible switches. Of course, if SANDBOX wants to switch into Mutalisks, that's not really going to go down well with all those Thors out on the map. If he wants to switch into Roaches, of course, the few tanks that are out, plus the Thors that are out, are also going to be able to deal with that quite nicely. So for the moment, he is stuck with this. He is just going to try and utilize this Ling Infestor combination as best as he can, and he is doing quite a good job of that. Just looking at the unit count, we've only got the Thors at 1, tanks at 5, and only 9 Hellions left over from the initial stage of the game. So here we go, the unit's now moving inside. We've got the upgrades looking really good here for SANDBOX. He's getting +3/3 for those Lings. It's going to help him out quite a lot. Adrenal glands on the way. 40 Lings being constructed right about now. Tell you what, this is some awesome production from SANDBOX, just getting as many of these units out as he can. Hive is done, of course, so he is just getting the... Is he getting a spire? I'm not actually sure. Well, we've got a lot of attack going on at the front here. SANDBOX keeping a lot of pressure on at the front, just making sure that LgNavilo is not able to move out with ease. That is the one big thing about having a mech army, is that it is quite slow, it is quite cumbersome to move around the map, but if you can get into position, siege up, core up, and all those sorts of things, you will be in a very commanding position. So that's what it looks as if SANDBOX is trying to stop. He's trying to make sure Hellions cannot get out to protect tanks and Thors. He's trying to make sure that the tanks get into good position so he can control various sections of the map, such as the various ramps and all that sort of thing. And then, as we can see, LgNavilo behind all of this has been doing a really good job with his economy. He's still up there at 79 SCVs. That is actually getting to a very high point for a TvZ that I've seen. So he's looking quite good with his economy. Mules all over the place. He doesn't have to worry about scans just for now because he's not going to move out. He's just going to sit there and get his upgrades spinning. Speaking of which, Armory getting +2 to vehicle weapons on the way. There is a Ghost Academy just in case he needs to switch over. But for the moment, looks as if SANDBOX is just going to stick with this Infestor Ling for now. Sending out a few of those Infestors, getting a bit sneaky, going into their submarine mode and trying to get some, see if they can get some good vision over here. They probably did see that the Hellions and the tanks were already out, so he's probably going to have a hard time trying to push into this this side of the map where LgNavilo is, now that tanks and now, wow, 4 Thors rolling out there are going to be controlling this middle section. And now with the center tower, he's going to be able to fight. Oh wow, are you serious? There is actually a Hellion in the middle of the map. There it is, controlling the watchtower. So Ultralisk now out for SANDBOX. He's got 3 more on the way. They're just about to pop out of the eggs and head across the map. There are a few more. Banelings are the next thing on the menu for SANDBOX as well, so he's going to try and get a lot of splash damage done. If he can take down those Thors pretty quickly, he'll be in a really good spot, of course, because the Ultralisk can move into range of the tanks and not have to worry about being shot at. The Ultralisk upgrades are all prepared. We've got 5-3 on those big boys. boys. We got 3-3 on the Lings and Banelings, and of course Adrenal Glands already prepared. And here we go, getting ready to roll. SANDBOX now moving through, blasting through with the Banelings. The Ultralists at the back trying to do what they can as well. Now moving in range of those tanks and the Thors. And the Ultras now going to town on some of those Thors as well. They do clean up most of the units here. Looks as if Avilo is going to be in a little bit of trouble here, but it looks for the moment like SANDBOX is going to fall back just for now. Perhaps he should head into this third base and take that down. I don't know how far he's going to get because there is a tank just going to work on all of these Ultras here, but does force a cancel on that extra command center that was building. More and more units streaming across the map. Good creep spread from SANDBOX heading through the middle here. He's also using the Overlords for some creep spread as well, and he is just he is absolutely going to town on everything down at this third base here. Avilo not happy about what's going on, I would think. Planetary Fortress and turrets, the only available units to defend down at that southern fourth base, and Avilo is going to need to rebuild. This is the thing about playing as a mech style in TvZ or in TV anything actually, is that if you were building a lot of these Thors and the tanks, when they go down you have to rebuild them and it costs quite a lot. So it is going to be a bit of trouble there, but a couple of Banshees of what Avilo is now going for. He's probably going to try and use those to take down as many of those very low health Ultralists as he can. If he can get rid of some of those quickly, that'd be quite nice. But SANDBOX again doing really well with his economy here, sitting quite nicely on 5 bases. We've got all of these mining up. Looks as if another attack going ahead here. The Ultras and the Lings trying to push into this big group of Thors and Hellions, but the Thors and Hellions win out this time. The Ultras just a little bit too low to actually get some more damage done, and now more Lings streaming in. We've got another 36 building on the production tab there, so it looks as if SANDBOX is just going to try and get whatever he can done. And Ultralist, which is hiding behind the command center, that's pretty cute, is dropping down some creep, and he will be disposed of for now. But this just gives SANDBOX a little bit more time to get some more damage done. Multiple tanks up at the top of the ridge are able to lay waste to all of those Lings that are trying to push through, and they do get inside and get a little bit of damage done. Of course, the friendly fire of the tanks is able to give SANDBOX a little bit of a boost there on his attacks. And now Banshee's inside the main of SANDBOX doing a little bit of damage. They should be able to clean out these queens, but perhaps a couple of transfuse would help out there, and one infestor coming along providing a little bit of a threat with fungal growth, so he is going to be okay. Of course he did use those for a bit of harassment inside the main, but I think perhaps if he could try and clean out some of these leftover units that are still hanging around, perhaps even a Viking would be nice. Get in here and do some damage to some of those leftover Overlords that are in the middle, but he could use some of the Thors for that, I suppose, as well. So we're just waiting to see how Avilo is going to move from here. He's still sitting up at the top of the cliff with all of these tanks controlling quite a large area of this section of the map. And it looks as if we are going to go into a little bit more of a macro game now, like even further than it already is. But with SANDBOX controlling this side of the map really well, he's getting that 6th base up there. Would not be surprised if he looks to take perhaps one of these top bases, which would help him in securing a good economy. But hang on, he's got another attack going through, trying to get some good damage done. The Infestors trying to sneak away, but they won't get too far. Cloak Banshee's now pushing across, going to try and perhaps snipe some kills there. But the Thors now with their plus, I believe we're on +2 to their weapons. Yes, we are indeed. Are doing quite a lot of damage. So SANDBOX not as successful with that attack, and now another Banshee heading down the southern side of the map, going to try and take out some of these drones if he can. There are a few spore crawlers being built, so he probably won't be able to get too much damage done down here, but he's already, in fact, no, he doesn't actually have any kills. Very interesting from Avilo there that he wasn't able to get anything done, but I tell you what, he's doing something inside the main. Got 2 kills with that. I'm not sure exactly what those are, but he's getting some more Banshee kills with the Banshees here, and Overseer just about to pop into existence to help out with finding where those Banshees are, and there they are. So he's going to be able to clean out both of these very quickly. The one down the southern side was also destroyed, and it looks as if LgNavilo has gotten this corner pocket base up, and he is looking quite good for the moment. The supply of SanddBox down to 165. Of course, he can resupply that pretty quickly, but the problem is he's actually struggling for minerals just at the moment. But I tell you what, we got 4 Ultralisks on the way, and they are certainly going to help out with getting some more presence on the map. And now LgNavilo looking a little bit scary. We've got a Raven in here. I love that he's got that there just in case he needs to detect anything burrowed. And Ling's now pushing into the 5th base of LgNavilo here. He's going to be able to clean out a little bit of the SCV count there, but not too much. The Hellions coming in to save the day. Ultras, Lings, and Infestors now sitting in the middle of the map. We'll be able to see if he can take out all of these Thors. I'm not sure. There are so many Thors here. We've actually almost got a total of, how many is that? We've got 13 Thors out in this middle section of the map. There are still more units being built. No, we don't actually have any more units being built, but I'll tell you what, Corvid Reactor, not every day you see that being built. That'll help out with some, in fact, what is that going to help out with? Can't point defense drone because there's nothing else to block that's down here. We've got Ling, Bane, Infestor, and Ultra, so there's nothing to actually block with a PDD. Perhaps he's going to be able to put down some turrets to block, I would say. Yep, there it is. Going to put down the turrets, the auto turrets to try and block off what he can, but it doesn't actually get too much done. Thor's going to work on those Ultralisks. They are doing quite a lot of damage, of course. If you target down those Ultras, he should be able to clean those up quite quickly. No transfuses from SanddBox was able to help out there. Unfortunately, Queen's just a little bit behind with no extra creep spread to help out, and the Thors have cleaned up that big attack, which is quite good for LgNavilo. SanddBox now down to 122 supply, building 80 Lings, just kicking it up a notch, and just a few Lings there, and he's going to send them into the middle of the map. Not actually sure if this is going to be the best idea. There are quite a few Hellions out in the middle, which are going to be able to roast up the Lings when they come around. In fact, no, there's just one Hellion in the middle, but 4 more Thors being built by LgNavilo just at the moment, trying to split up some of those Lings so he can get good surface area on the Thors, but the Thors clumped up should be able to deal with the Lings, although he does lose quite a few of them in the process here. We'd love to see if LgNavilo can get some medevacs in. That would really help, and you know, just lifting up the Thors to bring them into battle. But more Ravens coming out now from LgNavilo. Not sure what the plan is with those, but he is going to grab a 6th base here. More Thors just marching down. Of course, we do have even more of them building. In fact, a little bit more of a diverse mix here from LgNavilo this time, getting out some more Hellions and tanks, but it looks like this base is not going to be surviving too long. The siege tank actually, unfortunately, doing quite a lot of AoE damage there, and cleaning out some of his own SCVs, but the Lings, of course, providing a lot of targeting opportunity for that tank, so he says, whatever, I'm just going to shoot. And now LgNavilo as he did obviously lose that big Thor presence that was moving through the middle here, but he has done quite a lot of damage to SanddBox, and we'll see what SanddBox is going to do here. It looks as if he's preparing to take one of the either the top or the bottom singular base here, which is very hotly contested when you get to this stage of the game. Just waiting to see where LgNavilo is going to go next. Is he going to pick up another command center and try and head down to one of the sides, or is he just going to try and remax here with the Thors and the Ravens and the tanks and everything that he is producing? He's even got a Ghost on the way. Upgrades for both of these guys. We've got the Thors currently sitting at 1-3. That is 3 to their damage. They do now a hefty amount of damage. That's 39 damage to the ground, and of course 18 in the air, but not much in the air to shoot at the moment. Just Lings and the Blings and the Ultras and all that sort of thing. A lot of Infestors out for SanddBox at the moment. His upgrades currently sitting at a pretty decent amount. Got the 3-3, which has been there for quite a long time, of course. The air units also have 1-1. He hasn't been neglecting that at all. +2 for the air armor is also on the way. So he's going to have quite a lot of Broodlords out very soon, and they'll be doing quite a lot of damage. So just waiting to see if he's going to morph more of those in. But there are so many Infestors here. That's a total of, wait for it, that's 19 Infestors here, folks. That is quite a lot of those, sorry, 17 Infestors here, folks. That is quite a lot of fungals, infested Terrans, and all sorts of things. In fact, do we have Neuroparasite? No, we don't. I was a little bit surprised. I thought perhaps a little bit of Neuroparasite action would really go nicely here on those Thors, but not worrying about that just at the moment. You know what would be really cool? Would be Neuroparasite on the Ravens. Put down your own point defense drones just to, you know, be a bit cool with that, but he's not going to have to worry about that just at the moment. More Broodlords now morphing in, another 5 on the way here for SanddBox. That's going to bring him to a total of 12 Broodlords out on the map, along with these 17 infestors that are out. He's going to have a very, very decent presence on the map. He's perhaps will need to try and take advantage of the immobility of the mech army from LgNavilo, but we'll see how that goes. It looks like the Broodlords are now going to town on this 4th base down the bottom here. The planetary fortress is not going to survive too long, but it looks like the mules staying in range are able to protect that for now, and the rest of the mech army was able to get in range, and now some Hunter-Seeker missiles coming out here from LgNavilo. He's able to do quite a lot of damage, catching out a lot of those Broodlords. Of course, the Thors, the Vikings also doing some damage there, but the Hunter-Seekers doing a huge amount of damage there. That was quite cool. We haven't seen that for quite a long time. SanddBox taking the 12 and 6 o'clock bases here, and it looks like he will try and get inside here. Over 9,000 infested Terrans being spewed out there. Will they be able to take down the planetary fortress? I don't think so. Being absolutely annihilated by the tanks from long range. And now, what is SanddBox going to do? He will bring in the Broodlords this time. They're going to try and drop down those Broodlings. They will obviously soak up some of the damage, but no, LgNavilo is doing a great job of unsieging the tanks. And now, an attack coming into this top base, realizing that there was not really too much presence at the top side of the map with all the tanks, the Ravens, everything down here. That means that LgNavilo was not able to defend this top section here, and it looks as if LgNavilo will have to abandon that base for the time being. LgNavilo is doing a decent job holding out this base. The planetary fortress does eventually go down, so he's down another 2 bases here. It's just looking at the mining for both of these players. LgNavilo on 31 SCV, 70 drones for SanddBox. So despite the obvious, little bit of a difference there in the worker count, it's not too bad for LgNavilo as long as he can keep up the mules. Because of course, if you can't keep the mules down at these bases, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble, because that means that no more extra money is coming in. So he's going to try and keep these as secure as he can. Perhaps another tank or 2 would help out in protecting these bases here. But SanddBox, his macro, incredible as it has been this whole game, is now picking up that 6 o'clock base. The 12 is mining quite nicely as well, and he's going to be able to just do just about anything he wants. We've got Overlords now with Lings inside, going to be able to drop down on some of the tanks if they siege up. If they do, he's going to be able to drop them down and just let the Lings go to work on those tanks from close range. It's a bit of close combat there from those, and then if need be, the Broodlords can come in to save the day as well. Where are the Vikings? Here they are. So we've got quite a lot of Vikings out. The ghost count sitting at an okay amount. Of course, this snipe not doing as much as it used to. There is a bit of point defense drone going to slow down the corrupted damage. Of course, there is another Hunter-Seeker missile doing quite a lot of damage. He's actually using that to clean out some of the infested Terrans, and there goes the Ling drop on top of the tanks. Broodlords now moving into range, trying to do what they can before they get annihilated by the many, many Vikings that are present, and it looks as if the Ghosts are going to be able to help out as well. I think that LgNavilo is going to lose this base for the time being, but he should be able to clean up the Broodlords, and yes, he probably will, because they're not going to be able to get too far. Of course, Broodlords moving extremely slowly, put them in a race against a turtle, and a turtle will win. Yeah, so it looks as if this base did survive for the time being. However, how many workers were lost? He's lost a few of them. He's lost 5. He's down to 26, which is an interesting number at this stage of the game. With the pretty much an entire section of the map controlled by SanddBox, I don't think he's going to be able to lose this. He does have more Lings doing a lot of harassment inside that top base there. He's able to take down some of these turrets, should be able to clean up this last one as well. And it looks like a Nidusworm is coming out here. Not actually sure where that was. Trying to find it. I have no clue where it is. But anyway, oh, there it is. Okay, bit of a weird spot to have a Nidusworm, obviously just to try and defend this base, and then head into this base if he can to take that one down. Has he got another one up the top? No, he doesn't. But yeah, so we've got Nidusworm out. No doubt that freaked out LgNavilo as well, trying to find out where that one was coming in from. But he's just trying to re-establish this base at the moment. We've got Lings, and more Ultras have been brought in again. They've been brought into the battle, just lumbering across the map, trying to do some more damage to these tanks. Should be able to catch out all of these very quickly here. This tank, this Ultralist, I should say, has just cleaned up half of that force there. He is a Slayer. He is on Team Slayer, and a Hunter Seeker missile not able to take him out. A couple of Queens helping out with some transfuses as well. And it looks as if iSanddbox is going to start running over Avillo now. He really does not have the production that he had previously. A few more tanks coming out, but the problem is that he's not going to be able to defend all of these positions that he can all over the map, of course. As I said earlier, one of the main things you can do against mech is just to try and abuse the immobility of this type of play. It's very slow to move around. Of course, you have to siege up, but once you get to that point, it's very powerful. But if you can't get there, you're going to get everything absolutely destroyed by this very hefty Zerg army that iSanddbox keeps pushing out. So he's been doing really well with that. I'm not even sure, like, he's got roach upgrades to get, but apart from that, apart from the missile upgrades and neural parasite, there's not really much for iSanddbox to do just now. Just continually max out when he can and just do as much harassment damage as he can, because Avillo is starting to wear thin on his economy, his units, and pretty much everything that he has. So we'll see how he goes from here. I don't think he's going to be able to come back into this. The supply count currently sitting at 86 to 157. iSanddbox doing a fantastic job of just making sure he's harassing, not letting Avillo get into the game again. A few tanks trying to hold up at this position on the map, and will have good vision to try and take down some of his force before he gets inside. The Hellions doing a bit of defense at the front of the tanks, but Infested Terrans being popped out at the front here, they will be able to go to town on a lot of what's there, but the tanks with their +3 to their weapons are still doing quite a lot of damage, and a +2 to armor really helps there as well. A little bit surprised it's not +3 already at this stage of the game, but he does clean up most of the Zerg force there, although losing quite a few of the tanks, and some of these Queens getting a little bit happy with the party there, coming to the front and losing some of those. Unfortunately for him, still waiting to see if iSanddbox is going to do another push with a Night Swim. I would really love to see another one of those, but none of that just for the moment. He's just continually producing Infestors and Lings and all of those types of things, and now it looks as if Avillo is trying to push in. Probably one of his first counter-attacks of the game is now just attacking into this 6 o'clock base here. As we said before, one of the problems about doing that is where is he not defended? Up here. He's got one tank up the top. iSanddbox should be able to pop up some Infested Terrans up there, and he should be fine to protect this base. The 6 o'clock probably will go down, but that's not going to be too much of an issue for iSanddbox. His economy is still sitting at quite a nice position. 1,500 mineral income with 700 gas. He is sitting all nice and pretty. Denying this base will probably be the key to victory here, and once that is done, Avillo is going to be in a lot of trouble. 7 harvesters left over for Avillo. This is not looking good for him at all. Just waiting for the GG very soon, hopefully. Dropping down some mules, he may be able to try and push back, but with the tanks sitting down at this southern position, he's not going to be able to get too far with any defensive measures down here at this base. Now boosting up the fuel count, no doubt about that. Just maneuvering this orbital command around, just waiting to see how this game is going to finish. It looks as if there is going to be an attack into this 5th base down the bottom here. Looks like the Infestor's not actually going to be able to do too much just for the moment. I would just... This tank, this is actually... I'm not even playing, and this tank is annoying me. But I'm just waiting to see if iSanddbox is going to chuck up a couple of Infested Terrans there. Probably doesn't have vision just yet. No, he doesn't. But could just, you know, send in this Broodlord, this random Broodlord, which has popped up from nowhere, is doing some damage to the engineering base. Should be able to finish that off quite quickly. And that goes down. And so that Broodlord probably. One Lonely Viking helps to defend that. Very interesting that both of these guys just had a random position of units there. And it looks like an Infestor hit squad is coming out here from iSanddbox. He's going to... No, he's not. He's not going to have an Infestor hit squad. He's just going to try and head across the map. The Ravens moving a little bit out of position to where they will probably want to be. He's got some energy left over, but as we said, not really much left for Avillo to do in this position. He's at 85 supply to the 162 of iSanddbox. iSanddbox just biding his time, getting some extra upgrades, and just trying to deal with some of these expansions as quickly as he can. And I think maybe we'll have the end of it now once this orbital command dies. If it dies, no, it doesn't. But some good fungal growths there from iSanddbox, able to capture some of those Hellions, and he should be able to clean up this orbital command right now. The extra infested Terrans now popping out. Will they target down the orbital? No, they won't. He's just going to clean out the rest of the Hellions that are left on the map after that fungal. And there are some more infested Terrans. This is probably one of the most infested Terran games I've seen for quite a while. But Villa, again, is just not going to be able to come back from this. But Hunter Seeker Missile coming into that big pack of infestors, but brilliant micro from SanddBox, pulling out the one infested Terran that was targeted. Lings and Ultras down the southern side, pushing into that base again, denying more mining. And sort of just, yeah, pretty much waiting to see when this game is going to end, because it has been going along for quite a while, and there is no way that Avilo is going to be able to come back. He's been sitting 2 or more bases behind for a lot of this game, but he's tried to fight back and has been doing a valiant job of that, but I don't think he's going to be able to deal with this massive swarm of units from SanddBox with his 17 infestors, 7 ultras. We've got a lot of Lings on the map and infested Terrans popping out every which way. He should be able to finish this off right about now. A good fungal growth there, another second one up the top, a third one on the extra group, and this should be it. A couple of Hunter Seekers going down, good positioning there on some of those, and he does actually clear out a couple of those infestors there. Obviously a little bit too late, and no GG from Avilo. Just a little bit unfortunate he wasn't able to deal with that very swarming style. It's obviously a bit of a cliche, but a very swarming style from SanddBox at the start of the game. A lot of Lings, a lot of infestors, trying to establish his economy behind all of that. Got a 4th base up very quickly, and then was just able to pump out just units all over the place with Lings, infestors, and then of course we had the Ultralists and the Broodlord switch, which was just a lot for Avilo to deal with with a very slow and sort of cumbersome mech army, and without any drops from things such as Marine Marauder. It was obviously a little bit hard to try and deal with that. So great game from both these players. Of course, Infinity 7 SanddBox doing a great job with the Zerg against mech there. It was very cool to see. Hope you guys enjoyed that game, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.